Greetings to everyone. Welcome to EH 203.1 Anatomy of Food Animals. My name is William Nelson and I'll be going with you throughout the module, and I hope you are going to get along with me as we go through several sessions together through this platform. This module introduces the basics of anatomy of food animals, so that it will build foundation to you as you are going to learn inspection of meat in the third year. And specifically, this module is going to be taught in relation to a normal anatomical structure. And the main objective is to impart you with the knowledge and the skills in relation to comparative anatomy. How are you going to differentiate food animals from other animals which are not edible in relation to how they look anatomically? The module this is how it is structured in your curriculum. The module is supposed to have 8 topics, and the first is the introductory session. Then it will be followed with skeletal and muscular system. These are systems that are of interest. Then we go to circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive system, urinary and reproductive system. But for you, these 2, 6, and 7 are going to be taught together as urinogenital system. And we are going to skip this last session, nervous and endocrine system, because it's very unlikely that you are going to use it to compare animal species in your later practices. So today I'm going to cover the first introductory session, and we'll go through the list. And after session 4, the respiratory system, we are going to have a continuous assessment test. So you do skeletal, you do circulatory, you do respiratory, then you do CAI, and then we proceed with the rest of the sessions, and then you do the final exam. However, in between, I might be giving you group assignments or individual assignments as I find them necessary. So the big question to you is, why do you actually need to learn this module? Actually, in our cultural norms, we had some sort of agreement on which animal species should we eat. Which animals that provide meat should we eat? Though we have a lot of tribes, we have more than 100 tribes in the country, but among each of the tribes, we have agreed which species of animals we should eat. However, there are some instances where people tend to supply these non-edible animals for human consumption. And when those scenarios happen, who is going to protect that community against consuming, let's say, a dog or a cat or a donkey? Because under normal circumstances in our situations, these animals, we don't regard them as food animals. So that's why you need to learn this course. How can you differentiate, let's say, a rabbit and a cat? Those animals look almost the same in terms of anatomical size. And how are you going to differentiate, let's say, a dog and a goat? In terms of anatomical size, they're almost similar. And if someone gives you tissue or gives you these offers, let's say a heart of a dog, a heart of let's say a deer, how are you going to say, okay, this is not a deer, is supposed to be consumed? So this is the main essence of you learning this module. If you take a look at this slide, we have gone through several newscasts where people have been reporting being sold or consuming or selling meat that is not intended for human consumption. For instance, if you look at the far left, you'll see this is an online platform reporting somewhere in Moshi, people were caught selling dog soup. On the second, you will see in Dar es Salaam as well, people were selling barbecue made from dogs. On the third, as well, this happened in Mbozi, Songwe, where someone was also selling dog's meat. Another scenario, this happened somewhere in Kenya. Someone was also selling dog's meat. However, if you go in Ghana, these cases are common and people are allowed to consume dogs and cats. In our situation, it's prohibited, but in some cases, people are allowed to do so. So you are, as public health safeguards, you as environmental health officers, you are supposed to protect the public against consuming these forbidden species of animals. So how are you going to safeguard that? Is you having the knowledge and the skills to identify anatomically how do these species differs from the rest of species that we are allowed to consume as meat. So as we go through, we learn them through those systems, as I said. We go through bone structures in terms of skeletal system. We go through the circulatory system. How does it differ among these edible and non-edible species? We'll go through respiratory system because we consume the plaque, which consists of these lungs we normally consume. Then if someone gives you lungs from a horse and lungs from a cow or a bull, how are you going to say this was a horse and this was a bull? And we also go through digestive system because we normally consume those guts as well. But if someone presents to you guts, it's very difficult and challenging to say these guts are not from this species of animal. However, through these knowledge and skills from this module, you might be able to identify these species based on the organs and specifically organs that are presented to you. So as we go along, we might be using some of the terms, which are common anatomical terms. And I believe most of these terms are familiar to you because you learned them in the normal human anatomy class, of which you did in your first year. But as a reminder, I am going to present to you some, like cranial or rostral. This is a descriptive term in terms of the direction. It's a direction of organs towards the head. Will be termed as cranial or rostral organs. On contrary, the caudal organs, these are organs towards the tail. And the median plane, this is when you divide the animal into equal right and left halves. This is very common in abattoirs, in the slaughterhouses, where the carcass is normally split through the medial plane into the two halves. And then we have the transverse plane, where you divide into towards the head and towards the tail, the cranial and the caudal segments. Okay, that means it's 90 degrees with the median plane. And then you have the horizontal plane, which divides the body into dorsal, or the upper, and ventral, the lower segments. And then we have the medial, which is close or towards the median plane. Organs located close to the median plane are considered to be medial, and the lateral away from the median plane. Also, you'll be hearing dorsal positions, which is positioned toward or beyond the backbone or vertebral column. And the ventral is the opposite, which is away from the vertebral column. And then we have prone and supine. These are positioning. It's a prone position is when, in most cases, the animal is laid towards its back, which is where the extremities, which is the dorsal aspect of the body. And the supine is when the animal is laid. In cows, you might say it is standing on its legs. That is the supine position. So the opposite, when it is upside down, would be the prone position. Throughout the sessions, I might be using books, which I also encourage you to go through. The first book will be the book by William Wilson, which is titled Williamson Practical Meat Inspection. And in this book, you should go through pages 7 to 72 and also go through pages 87 to 94. This is where most of my sessions dwell. And also a book titled Grace Meat Hygiene, written by David. You could also go through pages 19 and 43. And I really encourage you to read these books, because I'm going to use these books to prepare MCQ questions for you. So don't take them for granted. So after this brief introduction, we are now going to go through the systems I introduced to you earlier. We'll start with the skeletal system, and then we'll go along with the rest of the system. This was just introduction for you. Thank you very much.